article, Republicans Are Right, Obamacare is Redistribution, there are four main biases involved: biases of selection of sources, biases of omission, biases of story selection, and biases of labeling. Mainly, this article focuses only on the conservative view of Obamacare. For example, in the beginning of the article, they start to criticize Obamacare as it is against the conservative ideology, using phrases such as, "It's hiking premiums," "It's making people lose their doctors," "It's destroying Medicare." Along with this criticism, they explain their thesis of the article. Quote, "Obamacare is taking away your money and health insurance and giving it to somebody else." Unquote. They continue with the bias of selection of sources as they quote from James Caprita, a strong conservative person from the former Bush administration, quoting him by saying that if you think about it, it's $250 billion a year in Medicaid expansion, and the subsidy structure that's basically being paid for by people on Medicare through Medicare cuts and a lot of tax increases, choosing only an expert that agrees with their point of view. We see the media bias of labeling in this example. Conservatives would argue that higher taxes or lower reimbursements to the healthcare industry individually get passed along to consumers and beneficiaries, particularly in the Medicare program. Throughout the article, they always mention conservatives. They always label conservatives very clearly, and they really explain their point of view as conservatives, but never once did they mention how liberals feel about Obamacare, or if Obamacare is even redistribution according to the liberal perspective. The article begins to have a media bias and selection of sources, in this example, when they already disagree with Obamacare, so they try to find sources that show the negative effects of Obamacare. So, through the policy priorities of Paul Van De Water and the Congressional Journal, they found 6 negative effects of Obamacare, which are custom Medicare providers, higher taxes on the wealthy, fees on the healthcare industry, penalties, reduced payments to private health insurers, and the Cadillac tax. Once again, one of the big biases that this article portrays is selection of sources and omission. It fails to consider the liberal point of view, and it only selects sources from people who hold the same conservative value. This article would have been successful if it remained neutral, and to remain neutral, it presents both the liberal and the conservative's point of view and find both issues with their views and present it in a neutral tone and present it in good placement.
This next video shows Bill O'Reilly talking about the harmful effects of using marijuana.
Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Is America going to pot? That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. As you may know, I believe the increasing acceptance of marijuana among American young people is a bad thing for the country. And now even some liberal media people are agreeing with me. Tina Brown, former editor of Newsweek, tweeted, quote, "Legal weed contributes to us being a fatter, dumber, sleepier nation, even less able to compete with the Chinese," unquote.
Notice how all his information only supports his side of the story. That's selection of sources.
That's true. The stats back it up. Let's take it step by step. If you use any intoxicating agent, your goal is to leave reality. You're not satisfied with your current state of mind. You want to get high, buzzed, blasted, whatever. Some adults can handle that on occasion, others cannot, so it's literally Russian roulette. But putting intoxicating agents in the hands of children can be devastating.
As you see, he just used the words intoxicating agents since, drugs wasn't bad enough. This is an example of bias by labeling.
Article poll. Catholics agree with Pope Francis that the Church is obsessed with moral issues. This article focuses on media biases on spin, story selection, and the logical fallacy of hasty generalization. Written by David Gibson on October 4th, 2013, we see a couple biased notions of story selection. Now, don't let the title of this website fool you. It's been misinterpreted and explained incorrectly, hence the logical fallacy. In this statement made by Maurice Carroll, American Catholics like what they heard when Pope Francis said the Church should stop talking so much about issues like gay marriage, abortion, and contraception. Maurice Carroll's survey is being questioned on who, where, and how he asked about these topics. Next, we read something interesting about these statements that portray placement bias. Catholic support for same-sex marriage continues to be strong, as other surveys have found, with 6 in 10 Catholics approving of gay marriage and 31% opposed. Next we read, latest research also indicates that support for same-sex marriage only dropped slightly among weekly churchgoers to 53%, with 40% opposed. That finding could cause consternation among social conservatives who argue that the most devout Catholics tend to support the hierarchy's position against gay marriage. The title of this article was misleading, as well as the information provided within it. The placement of certain paragraphs contains some bias as well when we reach this final portion of the article. The number of Catholics surveyed was not large. 392 adult Catholics out of an overall selection of 1,776 respondents. The margin of error is plus or minus 5 percentage points, but the trend lines seem to be in keeping with other research, meaning that this article was only within a small portion of the billions of Catholics in the world.
This next video shows the media bias of Spin.
Bill Burton is the man who released that statement, and he's with us now in Chicago. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Megan. Hope you had a nice weekend.
I did, thank you. Although I'll tell you what, I come back here on Monday, and there you are again slamming Fox News Channel. You could blame the people who released the tape. You could blame the folks who posted the tape. You could blame your candidate for making the statements. Instead, you've chosen to blame us.
Well, you know, it's so funny because I thought when I saw on Fox News this morning that you guys were promoting this interview and saying that McCain was going to attack, but McCain actually had not attacked. And even though the chyron on the screen said, in fact, McCain was attacking us on this, he wasn't. I thought, you know what, there goes Fox News again, just doing the same thing that they've been doing this entire election.
And then you felt bad when you saw that McCain did, in fact, reference it, and that it did hit several internet sources and TV sources, and you realized, indeed, this is not a fake news controversy. Many Americans actually do care very much about the question of whether Barack Obama has socialist-like policies.
I wouldn't say that I felt bad, because this was indeed an issue that has been driven by the Fox News channel. And, you know, look, I think that you played the video, you played the audio of that interview, which obviously I appreciate, because it points out that what John McCain was trying to say about it, I think is by any fair reading, just not accurate.
You know what, Bill? It seems that when I have you on and we talk about tough issues that may be potentially tough for your candidate, this is what you do. You blame Fox.
Fox News is stating that McCain attacked Obama about supporting socialist programs. But Bill Burton, the Obama spokesman who they're interviewing, says otherwise. He claims that McCain was not attacking Obama and that Fox News was misinterpreting it. This article is about the legalization of marijuana in Colorado. The article makes it obvious that it is against Colorado legalizing it. The writer is completely one-sided. He uses omission and selection of sources by only telling us information that benefits his argument. He also uses loaded language by saying what Colorado is doing is a tragedy.